One of my very favorite features in Photoshop has been around for a long, long time, probably since the introduction of layers, and it's called Blend If. I like it because, well, it's easy to use and it creates really fascinating results which aren't always predictable but can be very, very beautiful. Let me explain the technology behind it before we go into some more creative applications. So I have two images here, the sunflower and a standard black to white gradient. I'll put both of these on the DVD so that you can try this out yourself. I'm going to use my move tool and shift drag that across so it lands directly on top. All you need for this exercise is your layers palette. So what the Blend If does is it will blend these two layers based on tonality. And to access the Blend If, the easiest way I feel is to simply double click on the icon of the layer. And it brings up the very large layer style dialog box. And really quickly you can see the layer style box has some redundancy. Here are all your styles, which you'd also find here under your layer effects button. Here your general blending, which is exactly what's happening here with your blend modes and the opacity. The advanced blending lets you create knockout effects. And right down here, the Blend If. This is one of my very, very favorite features. Now, what it's doing is it's taking this layer. This layer is always the layer you double clicked on to bring open the layer style dialog box. The underlying layer is, well, you don't need to say it, it's the layer underneath. And you can blend based on tonality or color channels. This picture is just black and white, so I'm just going to base it on tonality or the composite gray. Now, what we're doing here is if I move the slider, look at that, I'm revealing the layer underneath. If you move the this slider, you reveal. Okay, if you move the underlying layer, you have a different effect. It pushes through the underlying layer. So this one conceals the top layer, this one reveals the bottom layer. Okay, now if I do that, let's see what shadow information I get. Oh, look at that. That's actually pretty interesting. Looks like an old silver print. Now, whenever you do that, you always get a direct delineation, because right now I'm taking all values from 0 to 266 and hiding them. And the reason I have this little bit of edginess is because when I use the gradient tool, that dither was checked. Now, if you want to create a transition, hold down the Option Alt key, and you see this little tiny triangle? Just grab the left or the right side, and you can split the triangle and create a transition. Okay, now of course, this example isn't very pretty, but even with something as simple as this, Option Alt Split, you can start getting some rather interesting abstract results. So, to access Blend If, double click on the layer icon, and if you want to conceal the dark areas, you would push the this layer to the right. If you want to reveal them, you would push the underlying layer in. And granted, many times I don't really think that specifically, so I'll literally just push these around to see which effect I like. And the last great thing about the Blend If command, and I can actually move all of these, or slowly we're going to be doing better things than this gradient, is if you click OK, and if I close the file and save it either as a Photoshop file or a TIFF file, anytime I double click on the layer icon, the Blend If command is still active. So this is a non-destructive way to combine images.